Welcome to the 8th and final episode of my road trip through the American South that I got to do with my buddy Evan this past spring. If you missed the last video from Alabama's Bankhead National Forest, feel free to go check that out first. Here, we make our way to northern Georgia, one of the most surprisingly beautiful regions of the eastern United States. Now, I wasn't exactly new to this part of the Peach State, having visited Stone Mountain Park near Atlanta in 2023, and earlier this trip, Cloudland Canyon State Park, which I highlight in my Chattanooga video. But that's just the tip of the iceberg, as much of Georgia's most exceptional locations are situated in its stretch of the Appalachian Mountain Range spanning Alabama to Maine. More specifically, this would mark my first ever visit to the Chattahoochee-Oconee National Forest, which had been on my bucket list for quite some time, as I'd often think of it as a continuation of the Smoky Mountains further north. It has similar mountainous terrain with dozens of waterfalls, and during our single day here, we'll show you the best examples of each found in North Georgia. Heading west to east, we kick things off at Amicalola Falls State Park, which I was stoked for as it's home to Georgia's highest waterfall. While there is a $5 entrance fee, note that it grants you access into any of the state parks around for the date of your visit, which we made sure to take advantage of. Once here, there's two parking areas you should take advantage of, the first of which allows you to walk under the base of the main tier. I love how they built up this bridge that allows for awesome perspectives of Amicalola Falls. What you're looking at is just a small fraction of the cumulative height of 729 feet making up this waterfall. Much of it are cascades down a hillside that aren't visible to the public, but this sure was worth it alone. Then you have the ability to get on top of that main tier by driving up the access road. What's nice is there's no hike to reach these, and each of the viewpoints complement the park phenomenally. What's great about this one is although you can't really see the falls, you are able to look out at some distant mountain views, which got us excited for what was to come. It was so cool to check off yet another bucket list item on this trip, which is Georgia's tallest waterfall, Amicalola Falls.
Yeah, I've been here before, but it still was nice to come back. This place is just really awesome. The waterfall it is, the cascade, how big it is. It's actually the tallest waterfall in Georgia, which I didn't realize the first time I came here. And so, yeah, I'm glad to have come back and show Mark this place too.
And you said it was your favorite waterfall in Georgia?
I think so, yeah. Something about it. It's just the shape and the surrounding it has. Just probably my favorite waterfall in Georgia.
Following Amicalola Falls, we made the hour trek northeast for our next handful of spots that fortunately were within close proximity of one another. Helton Creek Falls is one of the more iconic Georgia waterfalls, accessed by a short non-paved road that's well maintained and passable for just about all vehicles. Once parked up, you'll notice a short trail make its way through the woods, literally 0.3 miles round trip, so super easy and not much elevation to traverse either. Though you do start by going downhill and then uphill heading back to the car park. Helton Creek Falls is divided into two tiers, with a fun trail design granting you different advantages of each cascade. I call it a cascade instead of a waterfall, particularly the lower tier, as it drops at a pretty gradual angle. It's still very satisfying though, as is the upper falls, which gives Helton Creek Falls a combined 100-foot height. A downside with the view of the upper falls though is there's a number of trees blocking the view, which is definitely a shame, and I think a better updated location for the final observation platform could change that for sure. Helton Creek Falls is well worth a stop considering it's basically not even a hike, it's just a short walk from the parking area. Yeah, it's a neat spot, nothing mind-blowing or anything, but worth adding into our itinerary for sure.
Yeah, it's like near a lot of awesome attractions nearby, so it's good to stop by just for a little bit since it's such an easy hike. So yeah, it's a neat spot for sure.
10 minutes up the road, you'll find an underrated gem known as Vogel State Park, which has a 1-2 punch consisting of a lake and a waterfall. But it's worth noting that the main state park entrance road does not grant you access to the waterfall trail, which also provides the best lake views. So for that, you'll want to hit up some roadside parking along Wolf Pen Gap Road. Lake Trahalta is absolutely breathtaking, with mountains surrounding it on all sides and the watercolor blending in seamlessly within its environment. Another 0.2 miles or so takes you to this wooded platform that acts as a combination base and side view of Trahalta Falls. Though it's only about 50 feet tall, I like this waterfall a lot more than expected because of the way it cascades over stepping stones, and because of how close you can get to it. Not to mention, it seemed its flow rate was especially great as it was gushing water during our visit. I actually really like Trahalta Falls a lot more than I expected. It's not super big or anything, but I love how close you can get to it. It has a really satisfying shape as it kind of cascades down these steps. Now, since we only had one day in the mountains of North Georgia, we weren't able to do everything we wanted to. In fact, there's another waterfall right nearby called DeSoto Falls that we originally had on our list. I've heard it's quite good, but with that requiring a few miles of hiking, we vouched to do a larger variety of locations with easier access, with one key exception. That would turn out to be a little bit of a time eater. My most anticipated spot in the area was Brasstown Bald, whose access road was just 15 minutes away from Vogel State Park, but the problem is once you get there, you'll have to navigate several miles of windy mountain roads, where you then have to park up and pay for a shuttle that takes you up to the mountain summit. Reason we were willing to do this is because Brasstown Bald is Georgia's state high point at 4,784 feet. Evan had been before, and he talked this up to be quite the amazing view, but I'd been watching the weather forecast like a hawk because it was supposed to be pretty cloudy all day. I remember checking the summit webcams on the park's website that morning and seeing nothing but gray, which gave me a pit in my stomach. I did not want to devote all the time getting here only to see nothing, but I also knew I had to risk it because this, as I said, was what I was most hyped up for. When we got there, by some miracle, the cloud level was just above the observation platform and we were able to enjoy the incredible 360-degree panoramic views. I ran around to get all my pictures and video footage, and then in a matter of minutes we were engulfed by cloud. It did eventually clear somewhat, but we never got the same visibility we had upon arrival after that point. So that was extremely lucky, and I'm absolutely grateful to have gotten to see Brasstown Bald.
It was super cool getting to see Brasstown Bald. I'm so lucky that I got any view at all because today is a super cloudy day for the most part. It reminds me a lot of Clingman's Dome over at the Smoky Mountains. A little bit less dramatic, but still awesome.
Yeah, I've been here before on a clear day and it's absolutely an amazing view. So at least Mark got to see some of it. It's a shame it's a little bit cloudy, but at least you get to see most of the view right now, and it's definitely an awesome view.
As we didn't have to use any of the extra time carved out of our day dedicated to waiting at the summit in case the clouds were too excessive, we took the opportunity instead to hang out in the nearby town of Helen. This mountain village is extremely unique, with its Bavarian-style buildings and plentiful culinary offerings. We walked up and down the main street to check things out, which was super cool, and along the way, spotted the Georgia Mountain Coaster.
For those of you who follow my other accounts, Coaster Dash, on YouTube and Instagram, you'll know that I am a roller coaster fanatic. And so when I found out there was a mountain coaster right nearby in Georgia, I had to go get a ride on it. It's the only one of its kind in the state.
As if Helen couldn't get any better, riding a roller coaster through its mountainous surroundings was a blast. The ride is relatively new, having opened in 2019, and it became the state's first ever mountain coaster upon its debut. The owners were awesome enough to host us, providing multiple complimentary rides, and though it was a scenic ride, I was disappointed the first time around as the family in front of me kept braking, which caused my vehicle to automatically slow down as well. What's different about this business compared to most of the other mountain coaster stops I've visited though is they'll allow you a free ride in this instance. The second time around, it was much better, as I was able to appreciate the layout and elements in addition to the scenery.
That was a very fun mountain coaster. I was surprised, like not super long, but definitely packed in some nice forces. It's funny, I feel like I'm vlogging for my other channel right now. Do you enjoy it?
Yeah, it's a solid mountain coaster. It's a little short, but it's still a lot of fun. So, I mean, it's definitely worth doing if you're in the area for sure.
Next up, we made our way to a waterfall that I'd heard a lot about, just 15 minutes from Helen, and that's Anaruby Falls. It has an extra layer of protection within the national forest it's in, with the Anaruby Falls Recreation Area having been created because the waterfall is just that magnificent. There is a separate fee you might have to pay if you come here though, as this is in federally protected land as opposed to state protected land, but the $5 per person is worth it regardless, plus national park passes work, so that helped us out for sure. You could tell this was quite the touristy spot as it had a massive parking lot and visitor center, but despite that you will have to hike up 200 feet of elevation gain across a half a mile one way. It's actually a bit of an exhausting walk for such a popular spot, but I didn't mind because the views of Smith Creek kept us engaged the whole time. Now what makes Anaruby Falls so impressive is it's actually a double waterfall. The one on the left consists of two large tiers totaling to 153 feet, and then the one on the right is a smaller, more conventional 50-foot drop to the merging point. Not only is the shape and size of Anaruby Falls awe-inspiring, but its flow rate was amazing and the trail allows for so many different angles that you can enjoy the waterfall from. I was so impressed by this place and I think it's a must visit in the region.
Anaruby Falls blew me away. I don't know why, but you did not remember it being as good.
Yeah, when I came last time, it was so overcrowded. The flow wasn't that great. This time coming back, the flow is so much better. It's less crowded. The last time I just remember being underwhelmed, but this time it definitely lives up to the hype now.
Give it an apology.
It's a great waterfall.
No, so far this is easily my favorite in Georgia, which I was not expecting at all. We still have another later that could be even better, so stay tuned for that.
It was now time for our last bundle of nature spots, not just in North Georgia, but the entire trip. Toccoa Falls was the waterfall I was most looking forward to visiting in the Peach State, and its location is so weird as it's actually on a college campus, which is why it closes early at around 4 p.m. If not for that, I'm sure we would have made time for the aforementioned DeSoto Falls, among other things, but there was no world where I'd be skipping this waterfall, I'm sorry. Toccoa Falls stands 186 feet high and has the largest freefall in Georgia and one of the largest east of the Mississippi. This waterfall is more in the style of Fall Creek Falls in Tennessee, where it's just a massive vertical drop to the ground, but what helps distinguish Toccoa Falls from others like it is its location and general appearance. For starters, the orange cliff that the waterfall flows off of is incredibly picturesque with all those black streaks. 2, there's often a gap in the middle part of the falls, which gives it an ultra satisfying shape, and it's why I'd rather visit it when it's like this rather than when it's raging and it loses that characteristic. All in all, Toccoa Falls made for a mind-blowing part of our day. You just never expect to see something like this in Georgia.
I had high hopes for Toccoa Falls going in, thinking it was probably going to end up being my favorite waterfall in Georgia, and as it turns out, it is. I can't believe it flows off of this like big orange boulder. It's so unique. The location's awesome for this.
To conclude the video, let's head 20 minutes north to Tallulah Gorge State Park, truly one of the coolest places you can visit in Georgia. The massive canyon was formed by the Tallulah River, which cut through the Tallulah Dome rock formation and left behind so many interesting exposed boulders visible in the park. Tallulah Gorge measures approximately 2 miles long and almost 1,000 feet deep, making it one of the most dramatic canyons in the eastern United States. There's actually a ton of different overlooks of the gorge and its waterfalls, but what you absolutely have to do when you come here is hike down to the Hurricane Falls overlook. Along the way, you'll get to see a series of cascades drop the river substantially as it makes its way through the towering rock walls on either side. Your best views come from a suspension bridge midway through the hike, which was an amazing inclusion to the overall experience, so we were up there for a while. And then the big finale, once you've made it to the end, are not only the unique perspectives looking up out of the canyon, but a whole other waterfall. Hurricane Falls is the tallest waterfall in the park at 96 feet, and it's fascinating the way it bursts from the other side of this large rock. There is just one problem if you too would like to see this. Almost 1,100 steps from the rim to the river, and it is non-stop. To put the difficulty of this trail into perspective, I'd be willing to bet you aren't even going more than 1.5 miles, maybe a mile. That's how much elevation is packed in. It is an absolute grind, no doubt, especially with how humid it can get in Georgia. But if you think you can do it, you should, because it is absolutely the best way to get a feel for Tallulah Gorge.
Tallulah Gorge is absolutely incredible. I wasn't expecting it to be such a steep canyon. You don't see these very often in the east. And what a great way to kind of wrap up the hiking portion of this trip. We still have a few theme parks left to go, which you can check out on my other channel, Coaster Dash. But it's been one hell of a ride.
Yeah, this trip has been awesome. And this last day in North Georgia was really cool. Even though I've been to most of these spots, it was cool to take Mark, and all these spots up here are just absolutely amazing. And then this whole trip just from Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, all the way down to New Orleans. It's just such a ride, such a great trip, and great start to the summer.
Thank you all so much for watching. We got lots more content on the way, and we'll see you then. Peace out, guys.